So I would literally just be like driving to school in the morning, and I'm thinking, what would it feel like to hear my name called as the winner? And I wouldn't just think about it. I would make myself feel what it would feel like to hear that and to experience that. And I did that every single day. I was thinking, like, what would it feel like to perform my personal introduction perfectly on stage and come off stage? What would that moment feel like, knowing that I just so eloquently explained myself in 60 seconds in front of a whole crowd of people? And so I was really making myself feel that, so that I knew that I could do it. And so once I got to that competition, I was thinking to myself, like, well, I've already done this like a million times. I've already felt what this feels like, so why can't I do it now?
Welcome to the Miracle Academy. This is your host, Scotty Cooper, and this is where miracles are expected. Welcome to the Miracle Academy podcast. This is your host. It's your host.
Karma.
This is your host, Scotty Cooper. I've got my second favorite sister, Sarah.
Second favorite?
Sorry, I mean second sister. So, Sarah, also known as Scoops. We wanted to have Sarah on because she's a bundle of joy. So actually, funny story about her name. She was supposed to be Victoria, but I told my parents, like, she's not going to be born until her name's Sarah. And so my parents were going to have Sarah at home, and they're waiting, and they're like, this baby's not coming. I'm like, I'm telling you, like, her name's got to be Sarah. And they're like, fine, whatever. If she's born today, her name can be Sarah. Sure enough, she was born that night. Funny other story, I'm going to expose her.
Oh no.
She, when she was born at home, I was super excited to have my second sister. I'm like, oh yeah, like, get to be a big brother again. So excited. And so, like I said, she was born at home. My dad and my grandma wake me up, and he comes in and is like, hey, Scotty, here's your new sister, Sarah. And I'm like waking up. I'm like so excited. I get to like hold her, and she just explode poop all over me. Like our first ever interaction. And like, I still think she did it on purpose. So right from the beginning of our relationship, and nonetheless, my sister. So a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about with you, Sarah has won a national pageant, which if you want to see her banner.
Ooh, I got it. This is my beautiful banner.
So explain, what is that?
So I won a national title for one of the biggest pageant systems in the country. So I got to wear this all year long. Here's my name on the back. So I'm very proud of it. She's very beautiful. Yeah, it was a really great experience. So we'll definitely dive in a little more about that.
Yeah.
God.
That was definitely.
Thank you.
Good job on the catch, dude.
Thank you. That was the best I've ever done.
I know. So, Sarah, tell us about, like, what was it like doing the pageant? What was it like being able to win, like, the national pageant? And so also kind of explain to people that don't know the difference between, like, the state level and the national level.
Yeah. So I started competing in pageants when I was 8 years old. So it's been a long time. I'm now almost 24, so it's been most of my life. And I've competed in state pageants, and so the state pageant is the first level, so you have to compete there. And if you either win or you place in the top 5, then you can move on to nationals. So when you're at nationals, you're competing against girls from all over the country who have either won their pageant or placed very high. So it's not an easy competition. It's really difficult. And I had won a few state titles through my time. I had also not won titles. It's not like I didn't win every time. And then it was supposed to be my last year. I was supposed to age out. This was in 2018. And so I decided I'm just going to compete one last time, see how it goes. And I ended up winning the national title. So that was it was like a dream come true that I've been working towards since I was 8 years old.
What was that like when you won?
Well,
first of all, how much, for people that don't know, like, what are all the things you have to be able to do well to do a pageant?
Yeah, so there's different requirements for every pageant. Every system is different of what they require. So the one that I did has one-on-one interviews with every judge. You have an on-stage question. You have 60 seconds on stage to do like a little speech. You have to introduce yourself, and then you have to do the evening gown portion. So it's a lot of practicing for those. I was practicing months in advance. I was training almost every day, getting all my speeches right, making sure I was being able to communicate fluidly, so for my interviews and onstage questions. So it was that kind of practice, but it was also a lot of mental preparation because it's a competition, and it's a competition where you're being judged whether or not they think you are good enough for this title. And so it took a lot of time for me to sit with myself and really come to a place of understanding that even if I do my best and the judges don't feel that I'm the best fit, that doesn't diminish my worth in any way, that I did my best and that's all that I can do. And so really putting it all out there and just being myself 100%.
So how did you do that? How were you able to kind of sit with yourself and still understand your worth, even though people are literally judging you?
Yeah, I did a lot of like journaling. I tried to just like think a lot about what makes me me and what makes me important and special, and realizing it's not just the way I look in a dress or whatever, but that there's so much depth to me. And I think that's a really big misconception about pageantry, is that they're all like beauty and no brains, which is so far from the truth, because these girls that I've been competing with almost my entire life are so accomplished. They are so smart. They have so much depth to them. And just to be considered amongst them is a tremendous honor. But I tried to take a lot of time. I was spending a lot of time outside, just kind of thinking about myself and life. It sounds conceited, but I mean, it's what you have to do if you're in a competition like that. So just really understand yourself and know that you are good enough as you are. And a title is just an added bonus. It doesn't make you important.
Mm-hmm. So what were some of the other things you did to have that kind of emotionally to be able to kind of go through all that?
I did a lot of manifesting too. So I would literally just be like driving to school in the morning, and I'm thinking, what would it feel like to hear my name called as the winner? And I wouldn't just think about it. I would make myself feel what it would feel like to hear that and to experience that. And I did that every single day. I was thinking, like, what would it feel like to perform my personal introduction perfectly on stage and come off stage? What would that moment feel like, knowing that I just so eloquently explained myself in 60 seconds in front of a whole crowd of people? And so I was really making myself feel that, so that I knew that I could do it. And so once I got to that competition, I was thinking to myself, like, well, I've already done this like a million times. I've already felt what this feels like, so why can't I do it now?
Oh, it's almost like you took the training I taught you and you did it. Wow.
Yeah.
So for those that need to learn that, watch the Miracle Formula episode. But exactly, I think that's exactly right. Like feeling it ahead of it.
Yeah.
And that to the point where like now, and a lot of times we talk about on the podcast, like, okay, what does it feel like to be healed? But you can take it to all parts of your life, which is exactly what you did.
Yeah.
And you felt the emotion of like, what is it like when my name was actually called? But you'd like already experienced it so many times. It was like, I've already done this.
Yeah.
What did it feel like when your name was called?
It was like so much elation, just like so hard to explain. But it's just so much excitement and just like, oh my gosh, like, like, it's like hard to put it into words. But it's just so much excitement, and it took so long for it to actually like settle in that like I did win. It took like a month. So I was like, wait a second, let me just put on my crown and make sure like it wasn't a dream. Like, this is real. It's just really exciting.
So what, for someone that wants to get into that or wants to just achieve things in their life, what would you tell them, kind of the mental game of winning? How would you guide them with that?
Yeah, I would say really focus on what your goal is, and make yourself feel what it would feel like to achieve that goal. And you're right, it can apply to every aspect of your life. Anything that you're doing, think about what it is that you want and feel how it would feel to do it. And that's not the only work you have to put in, though. You really do have to put in the work. I put in months of work preparing for this competition, but it was worth it to me. And in the end, obviously, it worked out in my benefit.
So I feel like, did you do that? I know recently you got a promotion. Did you do that with that as well?
Yeah, I work in social media management, which is really fun, and has been a really cool opportunity for me. And so yeah, this whole time I've just been like trying to make myself feel like that feeling of, you know, continually moving up and growing, getting new opportunities, and kind of opening those doors, kind of pushing them open within myself, and then obviously that manifested into reality. So I did get a promotion, which we're really excited about.
What other things would you like to share with people watching this? Is there anything else that you feel like they should know that's like you've been able to do a lot of different things with your life and you've got a lot of really cool experiences? What else would you like to tell anyone watching this?
I guess so. One of the cool things that I was able to do after winning my titles, I actually started my own YouTube channel about a year and a half ago. And that's been a really great opportunity for me to share my life authentically. And so I would just say that whatever you're doing, don't be afraid to be yourself. I've really found that people love and crave authenticity. And I've gotten so many messages from people saying like, you're so real. And that's what I love about watching your channel. And so whatever you do, you're enough as you are. You're special and you're important, and show that to the world, who you are, truly.
Another thing I kind of wanted to ask about too was, you know, our mom was on the podcast.
My mom.
My mom. And we talked about how it was like living a natural life our whole life. So like from you being born at home and living that life, how have you seen that impact your life? What was that like for you?
I think I have a different mindset than a lot of people because of the household that we grew up in. I think I'm very connected to myself and good at listening to what my body needs, and really putting that part first. So I'm always trying to take care of myself and doing what I can. So yeah, it's interesting. I definitely do have a different mindset on life and of health than a lot of other people just because of how I was raised.
I like how you're always looking for like, so for now, like she's really into like skincare and stuff. And like, I like how every time you come to the office, you like show Dad like, hey, like I found this. What do you think of this? And you guys look into it, like you like just read everything, you test it, you do all that.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that it's an ongoing thing. It's like constantly. It's like every time we see her, she's like, hey Dad, can you check this?
Yeah, I bring so many like skincare and makeup products to my dad, and I'm like, hey, like I have pretty sensitive skin, and so I watch these like beauty creators just put random stuff on their face, and I'm like, why are you doing that? Like that, you don't know what's in that. So like I always have my dad test it before I like get anything. It happens like every single day.
Yes, it does. Every Sarah Saturday.
Yeah, Sarah Saturdays I come over, I bring my products, my dad tests it. I need to stop spending money. So cry for help.
So is there anything else you'd like to tell the viewers? Anything else? Or where could they follow you?
On Instagram or my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Sarah V. Coops. My middle name is Victoria. That was supposed to be my first name. So Sarah V. Coops. Or I'll probably comment on all of these videos so you can find them. Yeah.
Oh, the other thing with her being named Sarah was the reason I wanted to name her Sarah was because I loved The Land Before Time. And in The Land Before Time, the little whiny dinosaur was Sarah. So I'm not saying that has any of those attributes on camera, but I think it kind of happened like that.
Yeah, it's always a good like little thing in like college classes when they're like 2 truths and a lie. I'm like, I'm named after a dinosaur.
An animated dinosaur.
Animated dinosaur. It's a good fun fact. So
when I was in, I think like kindergarten or first grade, I brought my sister Sarah to show and tell because I said I was bringing a dinosaur, and I totally played it up, and like all the kids were like, "Oh, you got a dinosaur?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's living. It's at home. It eats. It cries. It whines." And they're like, "What? That's amazing!" So I brought him like, "That's your sister." I'm like, "She's a dinosaur."
I'm a dinosaur. I know, what a letdown.
Yeah. So awesome! Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This is really fun, and I look forward to all your future successes.
Thank you.
So thank you. This is the Miracle Academy podcast with Scotty and Sarah Scoops.